A few weeks ago, I came by the 7 Deadly Sins wiki, which I don't really... I think over the years I've never really used. But I found that they had a tier list, and I want to make a video poking fun of a little things that would change, because most of the time, a new player coming into an existing like year-old game, like 4-year-old game like Grand Cross, right? The first website they actually end up accessing for information is the wiki. And, you know, the tier list is actually not bad. And they actually have made changes since this video. I don't know if it was because directly of the video, but maybe it wasn't. But, you know, I was like, you know, maybe you should put that Bond is not SS tier. You know, he makes the Sin team. He should be at the top. But, you know, stuff like that. And I thought that would be it. I would never use the the wiki again, but I have found a very good website page from the wiki, which is the PvP teams section. I didn't know this was a thing because in their, you know, front page, it's not here. You actually have to go on guides, teams, PvP teams. I think they should put this on the front page because this page is actually so good. So a lot of the time, new players especially end up very confused on team building. What teams are actually relevant? Just because a character is good, they don't go that well with every other character. And this list that they have made is much better than any other website I've ever seen, because the only other website that has this sort of information is GameWith, which is a Japanese website. And the way they place teams is by ranking, like tier 1, tier 2. And honestly, their placements are... This time, they're pretty good. I was like, goddesses shouldn't be up here, but this time they're pretty good. Generally, they're pretty bad. And the way that they put it is like, okay, tier with Skadi is up here, but then tier with Ragnarok is up here. The way that the wiki put up is actually very, very good, and I commend them. This is how they placed it. So they have tiers as well, SSS, SSS, A, and B. And in SSS, they have tier, but they're like, okay, this is how many tier teams you can make, and you can swap between characters. I would say, this is actually very interesting. They have, so the way that they placed this, so tier's best team, theoretically, would be with Skadi and Malaska, which for geared is true. For ungeared, not so much. And then you can swap between Ragnarok, Bond, Merlin, or Zeldris, which is all true. Like, these three characters are actually very good with him. Or Nanashi. They could have put Nanashi here as well. Nanashi also works. But it's actually pretty good. Or if you want, you can use with Freyr and Freya. Or, you know, this, or this, or you know, this, or this and this, right? Like these combinations. Pretty good. Any new player coming up to this might be a little confused. Like this one has a lot of characters. Most of the other teams don't, because tier is like so versatile. But it's like, you get that, you know. I have Freyr and I have, you know, this thing, Elaine. They work, you know, this or, and then this and this or, you know. I like it. Moving on. I mean, I would say tier. The way they place it in SSS, I don't know if they like exactly rank him above Sins. If we're talking in the geared context, I think you can make the argument. In ungeared, the more I play, the more I think Sins really is better, but not by a lot, really not. And then, you know, explanations, stuff like that, very, very well detailed. Sin team, you know, best formation at the top, or some replacements. I would say I wouldn't, I would not consider that Trader Valley is someone I would unironically say someone can use, but fair enough. And then, you know, explanations for each character. Demon team, they put that this is the best. I mean, maybe you can make the argument, but I would say, you know, Zeldris of Kusok is probably the best. But regardless of that, you know, with the replacements, and good position for each replacement as well. At this point in time, I would not say Trader Melee is an option. I would even say Assault Melee is an option because of the Holy Relic. Trader Melee, man, Trader Melee's Holy Relic is... I think that's probably the most anticipated Holy Relic at the moment. Alright, if they drop Trader Melee's Holy Relic, with the next festival, which should be Demon King Zaldris, that would be crazy. Regardless of it, you know, I wouldn't say that he's really competing to be usable here. Neither is Hendrickson these days, depending on who you're going. But, you know, it is options, which I find to be very, very endearing here. It's very great for new players to have this sort of information. Human team, these are all good. The person who is putting these up actually knows what they're talking about. Either the one ultimate or LR Ascanor. I would say LR Ascanor is better than the one ultimate, so I would put him on the top. But, you know, Ascanor is definitely a character, or LR Ascanor is definitely a character that majority of players aren't with access to, but also Reinhardt at the bottom, so fair. I'll say fair enough. He's at the bottom, but yeah, Reinhardt really fell off. I haven't tried him with Green Arthur yet, I don't think, but it's, if he's Green Arthur, then he's not getting HP from Trigo. There's no point. There's no point. Goddess team, yeah. I mean, Bon, I would say, is not the best sub-slot. I would say, you know, either of these two are the best sub-slots. Mainly because Bon's attack release side is nice. And if you're going for doing more damage, is great. But realistically, what you're actually doing with Goddesses these days is tanking. And I would say an even better back unit than Bon is Green Merlin. I would say Green Merlin is the best sub-slot. And then you put the ore for these two, but regardless. It's just that it's a fault with Goddesses, right? Goddesses are not the most DPS because they rely entirely on Tarmiel. But if only Light Liz, man. Her Holy Relic was a little bit better. If only. Now going to SS for Ult Rush. Which is fair. I mean, Ult Rush is like way too varied. Because at this current moment in the meta, I would argue that every single team, except for humans, maybe even humans, is an Ult Rush team. Every single team. When you're using tier, right, you Ult Rush with one of your characters because of the, either, you know, tiers have Tarmiel Link and people are scared of attacking him because if he lowers HP, he gets more crit chance, more attack, and, you know, or you're using the Freya or the Ghislaine, which stops them attacking tier, or you're ult rushing with them because their highest DPS can do as much damage to them. It's like every single meta team right now, like Sin team, you taunt with the end, then you ult rush with Lost Vein or Ban. A Demon team, you taunt with Chandler, then you ult rush. Except, you know, if you're using the proper Demon team, you might not be ult rushing because you have enough damage to actually win the match without needing to. But basically every single team in the game is an ult rush. I know we categorize these days, or since forever, ult rush being the teams that have the die units. You know, Lizard Fraudulent, but I would argue, you know, Goddess is an ult rush team because this best formation has Merlin. It is what it is. The meta is in an interesting position right now, although very good, while, you know, regarding how varied it is, that's how it's been. Every single team essentially is an ult rush, but, you know, many more units can be ult rushers as well, so I don't blame them for only having 4 options. I would say Trader Mally cannot ult rush anymore. I'm dunking on Trader Mally every single opportunity I have, but it's true. Trader Mally, even at 6-6, struggles to one-shot characters in like these days, but if you have him 6-6, I mean, I guess you could make it work. Taxio team, fair enough. I mean, you could have put like Purgatory Mally here because it was the old way. But yeah, actually this team is weirdly common. This Echidna, Merlin, and Roxy team. Not as much with Galfrey anymore, but with Roxy is weirdly common right now. Unknown team. I like the distinction because honestly, you know, the new quote unknown team is Tyr, Freya, and, you know, Nanashi. And It is technically an unknown team. They're all unknown characters, but like, I wouldn't call that unknown team. I would prefer categorizing that as Ragnarok or Tier's team, honestly. So I like the distinction between tier and unknown, because these characters still work, but they're not the same, right? They are technically the same race, but they are a different distinction of a team. So that's pretty good. As you start to get into teams that can work, they can work, but you know. Now for me, I would say now for me is still weirdly good. I would say he's like a flex option on humans, much better than like Reinhardt is. Did they have him? I might have not noticed. They do. Okay. Yes. Yes. But on his own, like his own team, I find it very hard to believe you'd win most matches unless the enemy like really underestimates how good Naofumi is, because that can happen. Ragnarok team, I like that Tier is it's such an overwhelming presence in the game. The person putting these teams up was like, let me make the distinction between Ragnarok team and Tier. And you know this has been updated because they added the new Freya. Like, Tier is a category above all. He's not unknown. He's not Ragnarok. Tier is the team. Okay? And if you don't have Tier, then you don't have the team. It's kind of funny, but it's true. It is true. It's an interesting one. Heavy DPS team. I mean, I'll say, you know, we're going into teams that are more like hit or miss. Like it's a lower grade. So fair enough. You're not really winning any matches with this. You're not. Lilia just... Heavy DPS is like... These are old teams. I think that they have the top here, maybe. Previous rival teams have been since... Okay. So they have a... Obsolete PvP teams. Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. They have like a memorial for the... for the old, outdated shit. Yeah, like... I wouldn't call this heavy DPS. Not anymore. Like, you're not doing damage with Lily anymore. You're not doing damage with Rimmer anymore. It's just not happening. It's just... Again. Okay. To be fair, I haven't used, like, this sort of amplify team combo anymore, but I cannot imagine, like I cannot even begin to imagine with the amount of damage reduction we have these days that this would do a dent on anyone's HP. Okay. Patience team, I would say, is better than these two teams. I'm not gonna nitpick because they're all these teams are bad. Like, there's a reason why they're down here, but you know, probably better. On a Blue Goddess team. And now I'm just checking. Merlin unknown team. This is the real old shit. Remember when Merlin... This is one of my most popular videos on my channel. It's this video ends if Merlin dies. Oh, you can't see properly. You know, 287k views. This is the team. This is the team I was using. Merlin, Emilia, Ram, and Goddess Liz. That was the meta team #1 at the time. Well, back when rank 80 was a thing. All the memories. Go back here. This one they actually have a Galfer. Oh, this is just cute. This one is just cute. Pierce team. Okay, that's ended. Anyways, I'm gonna leave a link to this page if you guys want to bookmark it for, you know, the future whenever new metas come out. I think it's pretty good. They do make good guides. I don't want to like leave that other video I made being like me shitting on the website. They do make good guides, but tier lists are very subjective. And although this page should be also pretty subjective, maybe there's some teams that they're missing here that I'm not remembering. This one is very accurate, and I really like it.